Good tips, and he always had the same order.
Super easy.
Easy.
Also sounds pretty kick-ass.
Yes.
Yeah. Kick-ass, and you know what's not easy is sometimes standing up for your beliefs and highlighting something that is an injustice that needs addressed. So the kick-ass lady this week is Sedona Prince, and for those who don't know, she is the one who took a video of the NCAA women's quote-unquote weight room, which is literally just like the stack of like 6 or 7 like hand weights. And
my home gym is better.
Yeah.
My home gym is better.
Like
Just
my 8-year-old can pick those up.
Yeah.
So no, that's not a weight room. So she put on TikTok, she got a clip of the men's weight room because, you know, NCAA did a whole, it's like a time-lapse video of them putting the men's room together and everything. And so she stitched a video with someone panning around the men's weight room, and it looks like a gym. And then she was like, look, this is women's, and showed the thing of hand racks or hand weights and the yoga mats. And then after that got out, the picture, NCAA was like, oh, there's just not enough room.
That was the best.
Absolute bullshit. So she's like, oh, okay. And then she turns around and pans, and it's like 2 empty gyms, like gymnasiums.
Yeah. It's like ballrooms because they're at like a hotel or whatever. It's like when like you get married and they put the partition up, and it's literally 2
It's
ballrooms.
big enough to put half of a basketball court on one side, and then there's no whole other ass area that you could put the other half of the basketball court.
It's like in your elementary school if you had a gym and a cafeteria and they took the wall out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she posted that video on TikTok, and it blew up, and NCAA pretty much didn't have any good reason to say why they weren't providing adequate training, you know, weights and everything for the women.
So I know this is about Sedona. So I'm just going to butt in here. Sorry, before you finish on the high note, I want to get my negative note out before we finish on the high note. First off, if you saw the gear that they provided too for the men versus the women, the women's was not even city specific. I don't even think it had the year on it, but it definitely did have the city where the event was being held. It had nothing on it. The swag bag was like
generic, like
what your 4-year-old will get for playing ragdoll in Alabama. Like, it's complete crap.
I want to talk about the food.
And the
food. And on top of that, and this doesn't just affect the women's side, though you would think more because there's more women's coaches in women's basketball. But if you have a breastfeeding child, literally a child that has to be attached to your body, they still count against the traveling party numbers.
Yeah. So you can't have the other parent there to help you if it counts against, you know,
because the numbers are limited because of COVID. So your breastfeeding child counts against the numbers.
You don't even count a plane ticket. What the fuck?
Right. Yeah. Like, there's like no privacy provided. And like, I mean, it's just absolutely completely ridiculous, these decisions that they make people make. And then that pissed me off because you're like, so I think as like a women's coach who maybe just had a child or who wants to take their kid with them to the game or something, that like how amazing of an experience would that be? But then you also think about like, it doesn't just affect women because the male coaches, like I'm sure it sucks for their wives to be left at home with your 3, 4, 5 children, however many children you have, to take care of them for however long. Because you're not even allowed to bring family on. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah. And I get that it's a bubble, but there has to be some leeway. Like, you have to make accommodations for those. I'm not saying you can bring your whole extended family.
It's a bubble, but you're allowing fans in, but you won't let someone bring their baby without it counting against them.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Anyway, but also the food, Ashlyn. How about you tell us about the food?
Listen, they got these bitches eating I say that with love because I would have acted a damn fool if they brought me that TV dinner tray looking shit. Like, there was a picture going around Twitter, I'm pretty sure is where I saw it.
I couldn't tell if it was oatmeal or meatloaf. Like, what is it?
But there was you see this big long ass table of food for the bros that looks like
I
that good ass family reunion food, like when you see all those big
with the pans with the
tinsel
burners underneath and
pans,
everything.
you're like, damn, this shit about to be so good. I'm excited. I'm excited.
And
And
I'm gonna make
then,
a plate for my room for later because their
yes,
rooms probably had microwaves in them. We don't even
right.
know what rooms they put the girls in. Probably made them sleep in a tent. Who knows?
So then there's a picture of the girls' plate, and it literally looks like, how on Amazon you can buy those really, really, really cheap containers that are for like meal prep or whatever, that have like the big slot and then two little slots.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Uh-huh.
black on the
And they
bottom,
fall
clear on the
apart
top.
Yeah,
I have
when you
your
some
touch them.
upstairs
protein
for
and
all those.
vegetables.
Yeah, all those times that I don't ever meal prep, I have a bunch of them upstairs. Well, it's got this like bed of, I think it was maybe rice or some
You
shit.
literally can't tell.
And then there's
Can't
a
tell.
piece of meatloaf, I think, on top of it. And then some broccoli. And no, no, no. You cannot. Where's my fucking mac and cheese, bro? Because I saw the mac and cheese in the boys' picture, and that shit looked delicious. Where's
Yeah, it
my
was
mac and
good
cheese?
shit too.
Where's my
And
mac and
like,
cheese? I will
And
act
then
a
for
fucking fool.
and everyone who tries to say it's a revenue thing, one, most universities' men's basketball programs lose money. Let's throw that out there first. Your profit might be a lot, but like I'm not good with like money clearly, but like your overall they lose money because they're putting so much out. They're losing money for the
Yeah.
school. Secondly, the NCAA and conferences were created as they were, one, as they're supposed to be an educational aspect to it. Who knows where that went? But it was also supposed to provide equality across the board in some way, shape, or form. So, okay, if say you have Ohio State football, who brings in millions and millions and millions a year, that's supposed to help fund not just the football program, but the basketball program and the women's basketball program and the hockey program and everything across the board. It's not just supposed to all go to football. And I understand at some level you say, well, they're the ones who bring in the money. They deserve more, blah, 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 blah. Okay, but you don't deserve 5 stars when I'm sitting over here with like a little half a star. Maybe you get 4 to my 3. But like, even that's not really fair, but it's the real world we live in here. But you don't get to get everything and then throw scraps. And then you don't get to not promote women's sports, not give them any resources, not give them any time, and then blame them for not producing revenue.
Exactly.
yeah, you can't expect these women to perform at the same level when you're feeding them trash food and not giving them weights and not giving them the space to work out, and you're not giving them the motivation to,
You're not even
don't make
putting
them
them on
thank you
TV.
for being
That's
there.
what I was about to say. That's my
The
thing.
TV deals are where these schools make their money, is the TV deals. Like you think about, like, I'm trying to think of the absolute worst ACC school in basketball still gets millions of dollars for men's basketball because of the TV deals we have, because of UNC and Duke and Florida State now or whatever. So every men's basketball school gets a huge cut of these TV deals. Women's sports aren't televised, they're not promoted, so they don't even get the opportunity to make the revenue.
Right. You
Put
can't
them on TV and people will come.
Yeah, you
If you
can't
air it,
trash
they will
them.
come.
You can't trash them for not making revenue when they're not given opportunities to make revenue. I mean,
Right.
like you said, we can't watch them on TV. That's gone. You can't like the
USC women were
they're
on a
not
huge
presented
roll.
in the same way. If I Google NCAA tournament, it takes me to the bros. It takes me to their merch. It takes me to how to watch their games. Like
even fantasy, well, not fantasy, but like brackets and all that shit that you can put your own brackets together. It defaults you to the men's. And how do I get to the women's? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
so
like
you have to be given
like,
the same opportunity to make money.
Like, I know South Carolina was on a huge roll at the beginning of the season, and then the only time I heard about it was when they lost a game, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, they lost their first, and like, don't hold me to these numbers, like 23 games or something or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you tell us when they were on a streak of 23 wins? Like, you would have told us that if like any men's program was winning 23 straight games. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you don't even cover them, and then you hold them accountable.
Yep.
But
You make
Dick's
them feel
Sporting
like
Goods,
they don't belong and
right?
that they should be thankful for the opportunity to be there, which, yeah, maybe they should be, but so should the men. And they make the men feel like they have the right to be there and thank you for participating and thank you for coming. And the women, it's like, well, you should be thanking us for letting you come.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it's
Fuck
just
off
gross.
with that bullshit. And I mean, like, we're not over here acting shocked that the NCAA did some dirty ass shit because they stay hoeing around fucking student athletes. Like, we know that. We know that. We know that. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't talk about it when it happens for like the 49th time in the last 6 months. You know, like, well, we're still going to have the conversation. Don't, because that was for whatever reason, that was a lot of an argument I saw was like, oh, well, the NCAA is always trash. Like,
Yeah, you can't
okay,
just let
I
them
know
keep getting
that.
away with it.
Yeah,
Fix it.
like, got it, understand. I totally know, but still.
But hold them accountable. You can't
Yeah,
just be like, oh, this guy's a serial killer. He's killed like 42 people. That's just what he does. Like, just let him keep on killing.
Okay.
Like, no. That sounds stupid, doesn't it? It does. But anyway, Marla, tell us what Dick's Sporting Goods did.
So Dick's Sporting Goods stepped up. They tweeted basically and said that to the women in Arlington, I think is where they're at. They were like, hey, we got you. Like, we got a tractor trailer. We're getting weights, putting in a truck right now. We'll be there in a few hours. And they went and they set all the stuff up. It's still not
the same
as good as the men's, but it's a start. And hopefully next year we'll get more.
Doing it. It was Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah, exactly. The NCAA was letting it almost came off like a bad marketing, like they made a deal. I'm like, here, hey, Dick's, like, I don't know. It was,
but
and
then the NCAA also afterwards, and not to take away from the women at all, but like some of the men's players started on the day the tournament opened, not NCAA property, a protest on social media talking about how they feel they deserve to be paid for their likeness and image being used. Not even for playing the game, but if you're going to use me in marketing,
if you don't make money off me,
right? If you're going to check. If you're going to use me in video games and stuff like that, like I'm going to see a check. And then the NCAA comes out like a week later and they're like, well, we have agreed to meet with players. Like they're doing some big favor. Like, you are supposed to be there for the players. That's what you were there for. You were put in place to make sure universities did not abuse student athletes. So you just took that over for the universities?
Yeah, like you just ramped it up a notch and did it all on your own? Like, anyway.
I don't understand. But Sedona Prince
is a queen.
Yes.
Yeah. And she's only 20 years old.
Damn good basketball too, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's 6'7". Just wanted to point that out there. Holy shit. So she is a forward for the Ducks. She started at the University of Texas. She grew up in Liberty Hill, Texas, and she transferred to Oregon in 2019. And the Ducks, you know, they've got some big shoes to fill. Sabrina Ionescu, who was their like superstar last year, got drafted by the New York Liberty. So she's going to be a WNBA player. So, you know, Sedona has some big shoes to fill, but they're kicking butt. They upset Georgia, which is always hilarious to me. And they are going to play.
Sorry, Dog fans.
Where are they playing?
I guess.
Sorry, Dog fans. They're playing Louisville tonight at 7. So they are, I think they're the 6th seed now. They made the Sweet 16. I don't know exactly, but yeah, so they are killing it. She's doing awesome. And she broke her tibia and fibula in 2018. So I think it was 2018. Yeah, in a tournament in Mexico City. She was playing for a USA U18 team. And so she's
leg. Yikes.
Yeah. Like the whole bottom leg. So she's already overcoming adversity and like speaking up for what she knows isn't right, or, you know, speaking up against what she knows isn't right. So, and she's only 20 years old. So she turns 21 in May. So that's awesome.
But the thing is how she handled it. and how the NCAA reacted were kind of hilarious because she didn't necessarily speak out. She made a TikTok video saying this is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like some big, like,
Oh, I'd
I
have
want
been
to stand
going,
up to the man, like, make a huge deal out of it. It was
Yeah.
just this TikTok video of
She didn't
this
burn
is
the
what
place
it is.
down.
Now, they should feel guilty about it, and it should have played out how it's played out. But you know what I mean? Like, she was just like, she didn't go looking for things. It was just like, this is what's right in front of us, and people need to see it.
Yeah.
So, see, social media can be used for good. It's not just hiding behind burners and being assholes. So,